Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We are going to demystify the U.S. passport name change process together. Seriously, we're taking those dense official procedures and breaking them down into a totally clear, easy-to-follow roadmap so you can get it done right the first time.
Major life events, a marriage, a divorce, maybe a court order, they mean your life is moving forward in exciting new directions. And naturally, your ID needs to match that new life. So, are you ready to tackle the bureaucracy? Honestly, it might seem like a daunting maze at first glance, but don't worry, you're in the right place. We're going to clear up all the confusion so you can get right back to planning your next adventure.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our clear, stress-free roadmap through the paperwork. We've got 1. Your name is changed. 2. Choose your path. 3. Gather your documents. 4. Special cases to know. 5. Submit your application. And 6. The finish line.
Starting right off with Section 1, your name has changed.
The very first thing we absolutely have to do is establish exactly what the government considers valid proof of your new identity. This is where so many people trip up right at the starting line. You need a legal name change document. What does that actually mean? Well, it means a marriage certificate, a divorce decree, or a judge's court order. But here's the kicker: photocopies usually won't cut it. The State Department is incredibly strict about this. You literally must track down the original document or, at the very least, a certified copy issued by the Vital Records Office or the court. If you just snap a photo on your phone and print it out at home, yeah, that application is bouncing right back to you.
Moving on to Section 2, choose your path. Passport renewal isn't a one-size-fits-all deal, and the single most important variable here is time. And this brilliantly illustrates the 3 distinct situations. If both your current passport and your name change happened less than a year ago, like say if you got a passport and then got married a few months later, you are in Situation 1. You get to use Form DS-5504. Now, if your passport is older than a year or the name change happened more than a year ago, you move to Situation 2. That's Form DS-82. But wait, what if you don't perfectly fit into Situation 2? Well, that drops you into Situation 3, which means you're going with Form DS-11.
Let's quickly unpack the specific eligibility rules for Situation 2, mainly because this is the most common mail-in route. To use the DS-82 form, you have to hit every single one of these criteria. You must be able to submit your current passport. It has to be undamaged. I mean, normal wear and tear is totally fine, but if it accidentally went through the washing machine, no luck. It must have been issued when you were 16 or older and issued within the last 15 years. And of course, you've got to provide that pristine name change document we just talked about. If you miss even one of these, like actually say your passport was issued when you were 14, you are no longer eligible for this path. You have to head straight to Situation 3.
All right, Section 3, gather your documents. No matter which of the 3 paths you just chose, we are officially in the paper trail phase, and that means you need some universal items. Ah, yes, prepare yourself for the sheer joy of getting that perfect, highly unflattering 2x2-inch color passport photo. All 3 forms require this. The rules are super strict. No glasses, neutral expression, plain white backdrop. Get this out of the way early.
Now, if you're lucky enough to be doing a mail-in path, the DS-5504 or the DS-82, here is your checklist. You need the completed form, your photo, and the required fee. But here's the part that always makes people sweat a little. You have to physically surrender your current U.S. passport. You're putting it right there in the envelope along with your incredibly important original name change document and mailing it off to the government. So, pro tip, always use a trackable mailing method for your own peace of mind.
On the flip side, if you landed in Situation 3 and are using the DS-11, you've got an in-person checklist. You'll actually need to visit an authorized facility, usually a post office or a county clerk. And this path requires a bit more paperwork. Along with the form, the photo, the fees, and the name change doc, you have to bring proof of U.S. citizenship and a valid ID. Plus, and this is a big one, you must bring physical, single-sided photocopies of both your citizenship proof and your ID. Seriously, do not show up without those copies or you're going to be making a very frustrating detour to a copy shop.
Next up is Section 4, special cases to know.
We're pausing the main roadmap for a second to look at 2 very specific edge cases. What's wild here is the stark contrast between them. On one hand, we have a super helpful marriage exception. If you're applying in person with the DS-11 and you already have a government ID in your new married name, like your driver's license, you can actually skip submitting the separate marriage certificate. You just provide the ID and fill out the details on page 2. It's an amazing shortcut. But on the other hand, what if you have no formal document at all? You are in for a highly rigorous process. You have to use the DS11 plus a DS60 affidavit. You literally have to drag 2 people who know you by both names in to vouch for you and track down 3 public records showing you've used the new name for 5 years or more. It is intense, and it really highlights why keeping your original marriage or court document safe is absolutely crucial.
All right, Section 5. Submit your application.
Let's move to and see how this builds into one overarching flow. Honestly, it's quite straightforward when you look at it like this. Check your dates, choose your form, get your docs and photo, submit and pay, wait, and receive. A perfectly logical progression to get you across the finish line.
Let's talk money really quick. If you're doing the standard DS82 or the in-person DS11, normal passport fees apply. But if you're a recent newlywed or had a court-ordered change in the last year and your passport is also under a year old, you get a lucky break. The DS5504 has no regular application fee, totally free to update. Just remember, if you want expedited processing, you're going to pay that extra fee no matter what.
Speaking of waiting, 4 to 6. 4 to 6 weeks is the routine processing time. But I want to gently remind you, this does not include mailing time. So factor in an extra couple of weeks just for the Postal Service to do its thing. And please, check the official State Department page before booking non-refundable travel, because these times definitely fluctuate.
Now, if 4 to 6 weeks is cutting it way too close, you can pay the expedited fee. That shrinks the wait down to roughly 2 to 3 weeks. Again, plus mailing time.
Finally, Section 6. The finish line. The waiting is over. Your application is approved.
When that glorious envelope arrives in your mailbox, keep this in mind. Do not panic. If you open it, pull out your brand new passport, and realize your original marriage certificate or court order isn't in there, it's okay. The State Department returns your supporting documents in completely separate mailings. It is totally normal for your original documents to show up a few days or even a couple of weeks later.
So, the crucial point is, the second you hold that new passport, meticulously verify every single printed detail. Don't just check the last name, check the first and middle spelling, date of birth, place of birth. Make sure the expiration date gives you the full 10 years. Make sure it's actual your picture. Catching a typo immediately is essential so you don't have to jump through all these hoops a second time.
And just like that, you have conquered the bureaucratic maze. Your identity is officially updated. So now we get to shift from the paperwork to the absolute excitement of travel. I'll leave you with this. Where will your new name take you first? Go start planning that trip. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it gave you exactly the clarity you need. Safe travels, and I'll catch you next time.